It turns out that the brain actually floats in a fluid that's a derivative of the blood called cerebrospinal fluid. In the subarachnoid space, that is under this arachnoid mater, there is a small amount of cerebrospinal fluid, but yet the brain is cushioned in that fluid. Where's that fluid come from, and how does the body get rid of it? Well, the answer is this. In this deep recess of the brain, on the right called the lateral ventricle, there are tiny capillary tufts, tiny little blood vessels that produce the clear fluid that we call cerebrospinal fluid. And as they continually produce it, it's pushed under the pressure of its own production, as I'll show you. That fluid comes out of the lateral ventricle on either side. Here I've got the right side, through an interventricular foramen, that's a hole there, into a very narrow passage in the vicinity of the hypothalamus and thalamus called the third ventricle. Then it flows back in a small tube called the cerebral aqueduct to a larger area called the fourth ventricle. There are 3 holes in the fourth ventricle that let the cerebrospinal fluid go out into the subarachnoid space, as I've mentioned, and it will be pushed under pressure of its own production down around the spinal cord, back up, over the surface of the brain, and will be pushed to the top here. At that point, you can see near the superior surface of the cerebrum, it looks like little cauliflower warts. Those are sore pipes that pick up the cerebrospinal fluid from the subarachnoid space and return it to the blood, which is where it originally came from, in the superior sagittal sinus. Let me show you a little more of this. On this side of the brain, I can walk you through that again. This is anterior, this is posterior, so this is the person's nose would be out here. This is your left lateral ventricle. I can see what's left of the interventricular foramen. I can see the shiny surface of the narrow third ventricle near the hypothalamus, the thalamus. And here I can nicely see, here beautifully seen, right there, that little tube is the cerebral aqueduct. The fluid moves back to the fourth ventricle. There are 3 holes in the fourth ventricle. Out it goes to the subarachnoid space, up, up. And on this side I can see quite a few of the arachnoid granulations that act as sore pipes conducting the fluid upward, where it will be returned to the superior sagittal sinus.